someone had asked me who the ideal couple in our neighborhood was, I would have said Mark and Linda Carson, the golden pair of Maplewood Lane. They were always smiling, hosting HOA meetings, organizing charity events, and flaunting their picture-perfect marriage like a trophy for the rest of us to admire. Everyone adored them. Or at least that's what we thought. But my son Ethan saw something none of us did. It all began one quiet Saturday morning. I was trimming our hedges when Ethan came running out of the house, pale as a ghost. "Mom," he whispered, glancing nervously toward the Carsons' driveway. "You won't believe what I just saw." Now, Ethan isn't the type to gossip. He's a quiet, observant kid who spends most of his time filming random neighborhood clips for his school project. But that morning, his camera had captured something that shattered the illusion we all believed in. He showed me a short video. At first, I couldn't make sense of it. The shaky footage showed Karen Carson, as everyone called her behind her back, thanks to her bossy HOA attitude, sneaking out of her own house and getting into another man's car. It wasn't her husband's. At first, I laughed it off. Maybe she was getting a ride somewhere. But then Ethan said something that made my stomach drop. "Mom, that guy? He's Mr. Wilkins, our neighbor from 2 houses down. And he's married too." From that moment, everything changed. Over the next few days, Ethan started noticing strange behavior. Karen deleting security camera footage, sneaking around late at night, and arguing on the phone when she thought no one was listening. The perfect HOA queen was crumbling under her own secrets. Still, I told Ethan to leave it alone. "It's not our business," I warned. But he couldn't. He said it wasn't about gossip, it was about the truth. And he was right, because what he uncovered next didn't just expose an affair. It exposed a web of lies, manipulation, and something far darker than we could have ever imagined. The HOA's perfect marriage? It was a mask, one that was about to shatter in front of the entire neighborhood. After that first video, Ethan became obsessed with figuring out what was really happening next door. I tried to stop him, but curiosity had already taken root. "Mom," he said one night, "I just want proof. If she's lying to everyone, people deserve to know who they're following." It was hard to argue with that logic, especially when Karen, our self-appointed HOA president, had made our lives miserable for years. She fined us for leaving our trash cans out too long, complained about Ethan's bike being unsightly, and even threatened to ban holiday lights for being too flashy. She ran the neighborhood like a dictator with a clipboard. So, when Ethan said he wanted to set up his camera across from their house for the project, I didn't argue, but I didn't expect what it would uncover. That night, as the rain poured outside, Ethan's camera sat quietly on our upstairs window, ledge aimed directly at the Carsons' driveway. Hours later, while we slept, it recorded something that would turn our neighborhood upside down. At 11:42 p.m., Karen's husband, Mark, drove away in his black SUV. Barely 5 minutes later, a different car pulled up, silver, with tinted windows. Karen slipped outside wearing a trench coat, her head low, her movements quick. She got in, the car door shut, and they drove off. The next morning, Ethan showed me the footage. I felt sick to my stomach. "Ethan, we need to delete this," I told him, but he shook his head. "Mom, she's lying to everyone. Don't you see? She's the one setting all the HOA rules, judging us, punishing us, and she's not even who she says she is." He had a point. Still, I told him to keep quiet, but it was already too late. Because that same afternoon, Karen knocked on our door, smiling, holding a clipboard. "Hi there," she said sweetly. "I noticed your son's been filming again. You know, HOA policy requires written permission for surveillance in shared areas." Her tone was sugary, but her eyes were sharp, like she knew. When she left, Ethan looked at me and whispered, "She's onto us." From that day, strange things started happening. Our security cameras went offline, our mail got lost, and once, Ethan swore he saw someone watching our house from a parked car at night. Karen wasn't just hiding her secret, she was protecting it, at any cost. 3 days after Karen's visit, the tension in our home felt like static in the air. Heavy, buzzing, impossible to ignore. Ethan barely slept, constantly checking his camera feed, jumping at every noise outside. I tried to calm him down, but deep down I was scared too. Karen had power, the kind that comes from control, reputation, and fear. That night, everything came to a boiling point. Ethan burst into my room holding his laptop. "Mom, you need to see this now." His voice trembled. On the screen, the feed from his hidden camera played back in grainy black and white. The timestamp read 2:17 a.m. There she was, Karen, creeping into our yard. Her flashlight cut through the dark as she moved toward the side of our house, stopping right below Ethan's window. Then, she looked straight into the camera lens. She knew. The feed went black a second later. Ethan slammed the laptop shut.
She's trying to destroy the evidence,
he said, panic rising in his voice. I called the police immediately, reporting a trespasser. But by the time they arrived, she was gone. No footprints, no signs of forced entry, nothing. It was like she'd vanished. The next morning, I confronted her during the HOA meeting in front of everyone. Karen, I said, keeping my voice steady. Were you near our property last night? Her face didn't even flinch. Excuse me? She said with that familiar icy politeness. You should be careful making accusations like that. Ethan stood beside me, holding his phone, ready to show the footage. But when he pressed play, the video file was gone, corrupted, deleted. Karen smiled. Maybe next time. Keep your child's imagination in check. The neighbors murmured awkwardly, looking between us. She had us cornered. But Ethan wasn't giving up. That night, he set up 2 cameras. One fake, one hidden, determined to catch her again. And it worked. Around midnight, Karen returned, this time whispering on the phone. The hidden mic picked it up clearly. He knows. The kid saw us. I'll handle it before this gets out. My blood ran cold. Before this gets out? What did that mean? Ethan stared at the screen, his face pale. Mom, she's talking about me. That's when we realized Karen wasn't just trying to cover her affair. She was planning something much, much worse. That night, sleep was impossible. Every creak of the house made my heart race. Ethan sat by his window, clutching his phone like a lifeline, determined not to miss a second. I wanted to call the police again, but without hard proof, they wouldn't listen. Not against someone as respected as Karen Carson. But Ethan had a plan. He whispered, Mom, I'm setting up a live stream backup. Even if she deletes the footage again, it'll upload automatically. His voice was shaking, but there was steel in his eyes. My son wasn't scared anymore. He was ready. At 3:04 a.m., the motion alert went off. The monitor flickered, and there she was, Karen in her robe, barefoot, creeping into our backyard again. This time she carried a small crowbar. Ethan hit record. She's really doing it, he whispered. Karen moved toward the back door, prying at the lock, muttering to herself. He shouldn't have filmed me. He shouldn't have seen. Then she froze. Her eyes darted to the corner of the yard, right at the hidden camera's red light, and then she snapped. She stormed toward the camera, yanking it from the wall, screaming, You think you can expose me? Her voice echoed through the night. But what she didn't realize was that Ethan's live stream was already broadcasting to the entire neighborhood. Facebook group. Within minutes, phones started buzzing. Lights turned on across the street. Neighbors stepped outside in confusion, watching the scene unfold live. Karen threw the camera down and spun around, straight, into the blinding headlights of Mark's SUV. He'd seen the stream too. He stepped out, eyes wide with disbelief. Linda, what did you do? Her face crumbled. Mark, I can explain. But there was no explanation left. The truth was already public. The affair, the lies, the threats, everything. The police arrived minutes later. Karen was arrested for attempted breaking and entering, and the footage became the talk of the town. The HOA presidency she guarded so fiercely? Gone overnight. As they led her away, she glared at us. But there was no more power in her eyes. Just defeat. Ethan stood beside me, silent, watching as the flashing lights faded down the street. Mom, he said softly. I didn't mean for it to go this far. I placed a hand on his shoulder. Sometimes the truth hurts, Ethan. But it also frees people. From that night on, the HOA meetings were quieter, fairer, and Karen Carson's perfect marriage became nothing more than a warning story whispered behind closed doors. If you enjoyed watching Karen finally get exposed, make sure to subscribe, like, and comment what you would have done in our place, because there are plenty more HOA secrets coming your way.